I am Bijal Kansara, Assistant Professor from Electrical Engineering Department of Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. Today is the third video of chapter number 2, Linear Application of the Op-Amp. In this video, we are going to talk about instrumentation amplifier, requirement of an instrumentation amplifier, the 3 op-amp instrumentation amplifier, advantages and application of instrumentation amplifier, and the second topic is integrator, and in this integrator we see problem associated with the ideal integrator. Now first is instrumentation amplifier. This is a block diagram of instrumentation amplifier. First of all, we have to understand transducer. The transducer is a device that converts the energy, one form of energy into the another form of energy. The example of the transducer are like thermometers, loudspeakers, pressure sensor. An instrumentation amplifier is basically a difference amplifier which meets certain requirement. It is a one type of signal conditioner. And what do you mean by signal conditioner? Signal conditioner is a device that converts one type of electronic signal into the another type of signal. In many industrial and consumer applications, the measurement and control of quantities such as temperature, pressure, humidity, etc. is required. A transducer is a device that converts this physical quantity into the electrical signal first. Then output of the transducer is given to the pre-amplifier stage. The output of transducer is not that much level that can apply to the instrumentation amplifier. So we have to use pre-amplifier stage. The output of transducer is then applied to an amplifier is called an instrumentation amplifier. An instrumentation amplifier is amplifier that amplifies low level output signal of the transducer to a level that it can drive the indicator or display. This is a complete block diagram of the instrumentation amplifier. It has first stage is transducer. The input of the transducer is a physical quantity to be the measured like a pressure, temperature, sound, etc. Then output of the transducer is given to the pre-amplifier stage. Then output of the pre-amplifier is given to the instrumentation amplifier, and the output of the instrumentation amplifier is for indicator or the display purpose. Next, the requirement of instrumentation amplifier. The first one is a precise amplification of a low level signal. The instrumentation amplifier are expected to amplify a signal of very small amplitudes emerging from the transducer. Therefore, their gain should be high and infinite. The gain of the instrumentation amplifier can be high as 1000. For the precise amplification, the gain should be accurate and stable. The second is low noise. The noise introduced by an instrumentation amplifier should be as low as possible. The instrumentation amplifier is basically a differential amplifier, so it is capable of rejecting the noise at its input because it has a high CMRR. When the instrumentation amplifier are used in a biomedical instruments, the requirement of the low noise becomes very important because then the input signal to the amplifier comes from the patient's body. Therefore, the noise should be as low as possible. Third one is a low thermal drift. Thermal drift means variation in the temperature at the input side. The parameter of the instrumentation amplifier should not change from their desired value due to the temperature variation. The fourth one is a high input resistance. The instrumentation amplifier must have a very high input impedance. Ideally, it should be infinite. This is necessary to avoid the loading of the input source. The input resistance becomes if the input resistance is very high, then we can avoid the loading of the input source. The fifth one is a accurate closed loop gain. The closed loop gain should not only be accurate, but it should be easily adjustable as well. A continuous gain adjustment is possible to obtain using a potentiometer. The next is low power dissipation. If the power dissipation is very high, then it can be heat up. So the power dissipation as low as possible. The consumption of the instrumentation amplifier should be low as possible. This will increase the battery life if the instrumentation amplifier is being operated on the battery. The next is high CMRR. CMRR means common mode rejection ratio. It should be high. High CMRR is essential in order to reject any common mode noise present at the input of the instrumentation amplifier or the output of the transducer. Ideally, CMRR should be infinite and practically it should be as high as possible. The next is high slew rate. The slew rate should be as high as possible because this will ensure the maximum undistorted output voltage swing. The 9th is a easy adjustment of the gain. This requirement can be achieved by using a potentiometer by changing the potentiometer resistance value, also changing therefore gain. So by changing a resistance, gain is also changing. So easy adjustment of gain can be achieved by using a potentiometer. The next is the 3 op-amp instrumentation amplifier. In the figure, 3 op-amp is used, A1, A2 and A3. A1 and A2 are non-inverting amplifier because the input voltage apply at the non-inverting terminal means plus terminal, and their negative terminal are connected with the resistance R2. In previous we see the non-inverting amplifier like the non-inverting terminal connected at the supply and negative terminal connected to ground, but here we connect negative terminal at the resistance R2. And the amplifier A3 has a feedback resistance as a R4 and input resistance as a R3. And here 3 resistor use R1, R2 and again R1. Both these two resistance have the same value R1 and this middle resistance has a value R2. We define 2 nodes, here node A, here node B. The output of this op-amp A2 is V01 because here input signal is V1, and the output of this op-amp is V02 because this output due to the input signal V2. Okay. The high impedance instrumentation amplifier using a cross coupled difference amplifier is shown in the figure. As the input impedance of all the op-amp used here is assumed to be the infinite, their input currents are 0. Because of input impedance are infinite, input current is 0. Therefore, current flowing through the resistance R1, R2 and R1, R2, R1 and R1 to R3 is same and the value is I. Same current flow through this all resistance. Now we have to derive the expression for the voltage gain. We define 2 nodes, node A and node B. The voltage at node A is defined as a VA and the voltage at the node B is defined as a VB. So VA is equal to V2 and VB is equal to V1. VA is equal to V2. Here VA voltage is directly equal to this voltage V2 and VB means voltage at the node B is directly equal to this voltage, so it is a V1. So here we can write VA is equal to V2 and VB is equal to V1. Okay. Now the expression of the current I is, the current is flowing between this resistance, so we can write as a VA minus VB divided by R2. VA minus VB divided by R2, and the value of VA is V2 and VB is V1. So the current equation became V2 minus V1 divided by R2. Now the output voltage at the op-amp 2. Op-amp 2 is the first one, upper one. The output voltage of op-amp 2 is denoted as V02, and we have to write equation for V02. So in this figure, V02, apply the KVL rule. So V02 is equal to VA plus IR1, the voltage at the node A plus current flowing through this resistance R2. So the V02 equation is VA plus IR1, but VA is equal to V2. So instead of VA, we write V2 plus IR1. In next step, put the value of I, and the value of I is V2 minus V1 divided by R2. So equation became V2 plus V2 minus V1 divided by R2 into R1. Now in next step, this R2 is multiple with this V2, so V2 R2, and the open this bracket, V2 into R1, here R1, V2 into R1 minus V1 into R1, and whole divided by R2. Now from these first two term, common the V2. So V2 common, and in bracket R1 plus R2 common, V2 minus R1 V1 whole divided by R2. This is the equation from the output of this op-amp number 2. So V0. Now only op-amp A1 is considered. So the output of the op-amp A1 is given as V01. So V01, apply KCL rule here. So V01 is VB minus IR1. VB means voltage at the node B. Here is a node B. So VB is equal to V1. So V1 minus IR1. Current flowing from this resistor is I, and the voltage drop across is IR1. So the output voltage V01 is given as VB minus this voltage drop. So VB minus IR1. And the value of I, we know that is V2 minus V1 divided by R2. So the put value of I into this equation. So equation became, and instead of VB we write V1, because VB is equal to V1. So V1 minus IR1, and then value of the I is V2 minus V1 divided by R2 and R1. Now taking LCM, so this R2 is multiply with this V1, so V1 R2 minus V2 R1 plus V1 R1 whole divided by V2. Now taking V1 from these two terms, this first and last, so V1 common, so in bracket R1 plus R2 common V1 minus R1 V2 whole divided by R2. Now the output of the first stage, in the first stage there is a two op-amp, op-amp 1 and op-amp 2. The output of the op-amp 1 is a V01 and the output of the op-amp 2 is a V02. So the overall output at the first stage is denoted as V02 minus V01. So from in this we have to write these two equation, the output of the V02 minus the output of the op-amp 1 V01. So equation became V02 minus V01. Here this is the value. Now the denominator is the same, R2. In this became R1 plus R2 common, so R1 plus R2, and in second bracket V2 minus V1, and in third bracket plus R1 common, V2 minus V1. From these two term, common is V2 minus V1, so V2 minus V1 is common, and in second become 2R1 plus R2 whole divided by R2. So now given them individual denominator, so this term became V02 minus V01 is equal to 1 plus 2R1 by R2 V2 minus Vn. Here V2 minus V1 is nothing but is a differential signal Vd, and here it is this term 1 plus 2R1 by R2 is a gain of this amplifier. Now therefore the gain of the first stage is given by AV1 is equal to V02 minus V01 divided by V2 minus V1, and this is this, here it is this term. The second stage differential amplifier gain is AV2 is equal to R4 by R3. The first figure, first stage, up till now we derive the gain for this amplifier. Now we have to derive the gain for this part. So this is nothing but a simple op-amp. So here R4 is the feedback resistance and R3 is the input resistance. So this amplifier, this part gain is written as R4 by R3, means RF by R1. Here RF is equal to R4 and R1 is equal to R3. So AV2 is equal to R4 by R3. The overall gain AV of this 3 op-amp instrumentation amplifier is a multiplication of this 2 gain, means AV1 into AV2. Here AV1 is a 1 plus 2 R1 by R2 into R4 by R3. Hence, by using the variable resistance R2, the overall gain can be easily and linearly varied. The output voltage is given as V0 is equal to AV into V1 minus V2, where V1 minus V2 is a differential signal and AV is a gain of this op-amp. Now, advantages of the instrumentation amplifier. With the help of single variable resistance R2, we can adjust the gain of the instrumentation amplifier precisely. Only changing the resistance value, we can change the gain easily. The input impedance is very high because the input impedance of this circuit depends on the two unity gain buffers A1 and A2. By selecting a high quality low tolerance resistance, we can adjust the amplifier gain accurately to any desired value. By changing the resistance, we can change the gain, so we accurately change the gain. The output impedance of this amplifier is decided by the amplifier A3, and the output impedance of A3 is very low. The means input impedance depends on the amplifier A1 and A2, and output impedance depends on the A3. This amplifier has a very good capacity to reject a common mode signal such as a noise. This capacity is acquired due to the high CMRR of the amplifier A3. Next is application of the instrumentation amplifier. Some important application of instrumentation amplifier is like electronic weighting scale, light intensity meter, pressure monitoring and control, temperature indicator, temperature control. All these applications we are measuring and or controlling different physical quantities such as a displacement, presence, pressures, intensity, temperature, etc. In order to do this, we have to use an instrumentation amplifier with a transducer bridge. Depending on the quantity to be measured or controlled, a different transducer is required to be used. Now, our next topic is integrator. The definition of the integrator is that the circuit in which output voltage waveform is the integration of the input voltage waveform is called as an integrator or integrating amplifier. The ideal integrator circuit is shown in this figure. The circuit is obtained by replacing a feedback resistor. Up till now we use here feedback resistance RF, but in integrator we replace RF resistors by capacitor, so it is denoted as a CF, feedback capacitor. Assume that the op-amp used here is an ideal one and V2 is a virtual ground potential. Here V1 is at the ground potential and V2 is at the virtual ground potential. Now we have to derive expression for the output voltage of this integrator. Referring the figure, above figure, applying Kirchhoff's current law at the node V2. Apply KCL at this node. Here I1 plus IB, I1 current entering into this node is equal to summation of these two current leaving to this node. Leaving from this node means IF plus IB. Here I1 is a current that is entering into node, so I1 is equal to IF plus IB. So KCL at node this I1, KCL means summation of current entering into node is equal to current leaving from this node. So current entering into this node is I1. Only one current is entering into this node, and the current leaving from this node is a two current, IF plus IB. So I1 is equal to IF plus IB. But here IB is equal to 0 due to the high input resistance of this op-amp. IB is equal to 0. So I1 is equal to IF. IB is 0. So equation became I1 is equal to IF. Due to the high input resistance of op-amp, IB will be the 0. So I1 is equal to IF. Okay. Now next, the basic relation between the current through and voltage across the capacitor. Current flowing through the capacitor is given as equation IC is equal to C dVc by dt, means capacitance into derivation of the voltage across this capacitor with respect to the time. But in the case of integrator, IF is equal to ICF, means feedback current is written as ICF. Therefore this equation I1 is equal to CF dVc divided by dt. But we know that I1 is equal to V1 VIN minus V2 divided by R1. Here I1, we have to write equation for this current I1. So I1 is a current flowing between two potential VIN and V2, and the resistance between these 2 points is R1. So the equation of the I1 can be written as VIN minus V2 divided by R1. Okay, and the voltage across this capacitor VC can be written as V2 minus V0. Capacitors is connected between these 2 points, so the capacitance voltage is written as V2 minus V0. Now value of I1 and VC we put in this equation. Which equation? This equation. I1 is equal to CF dVc by dt, and the value of I1 is VIN minus V2 divided by R1, and the value of VC is V2 minus V0. So the equation becomes like this. Now using a virtual ground concept, V2 is equal to 0. So put 0 instead of V2. Therefore equation become, put here V2 is 0 and V2 is 0. Now wherever V2 put 0. So the equation became VIN divided by R1 is equal to CF d by dt 0 minus V0, so minus V0. The output voltage can be obtained by integrating the above equation. So to eliminate this derivative term, we have to integrate this equation. Therefore using the integration equation, output equation became V0 is equal to minus 1 upon R1 CF integration 0 to t Vin dt plus C. Here C is the constant of the integration and it is a proportional to the output voltage V0 at the t is equal to 0 second. This equation indicates that the output voltage is a negative integration of the input voltage. The negative sign is introduced due to fact that the basic configuration used is the inverting amplifier. The basic figure we used is a inverting amplifier. This circuit is therefore called as an inverting integrator. Now, the problem associated with the integrator. In the ideal integrator, the capacitance CF is connected in the feedback path. Hence, the reactance will be decide the gain of the inverting amplifier as AVF is equal to minus RF upon R1, and RF, instead of RF we write XF, means reactance of this capacitance CF. In the absence of any AC input, the capacitive reactance will be infinity. Hence, the gain of the integrator will be infinity. Hence, it will amplify any input offset voltage VIOS present at the op-amp input. Thus, in the absence of any input voltage, a large output voltage is present, which is obviously the error voltage. This is one of the main problem of this ideal integrator. We know that the capacitance reactance XC is equal to minus 1 upon omega C, and the omega value is minus 1 upon 2 pi F and C, and the output voltage of this integrator is written as V output is equal to minus XC upon R into VIN, means multiple of the input voltage, and the gain of this op-amp is minus XC upon R. Now, if the frequency is 0 Hertz, F is 0, the XC is infinity, and the gain of the this integrator is also infinity. Practically, the gain of this ideal it is depend on the open loop gain. If the frequency is increases, if this frequency is increases, the reactance is decreases and the output is also decreases. This is the main disadvantages of this ideal integrator. Next, thus in the absence of any input voltage, also a large output voltage is present, which is obviously error. Means input voltage if not applied due to input offset voltage is already present in this op-amp, we received a large amount of output at the output side when input is not applied. The other problem is that bias current of the op-amp can be charged or discharged the integrator capacitor, forcing the integrator output to ramp up or ramp down. Due to this capacitance, bias current discharge and charge integrator capacitor. Due to these two problems, the output voltage is likely to ramp up or down due to the very high gain. It may reach the V saturation or minus V saturation level. This is a major drawback of the ideal integrator. Another problem with the ideal integrator is that the gain of amplifier is infinity at the frequency is 0, goes on decreasing with the increasing in the frequency due to reduction in the XF. Hence the integrator cannot integrate the high frequency input signal, because whenever the frequency is increases, reactance is decreases and the output is also decreases. Because of all this problem associated with the ideal integrator, it generally not used in the practice. Now these are the GTO question that we covered in this video. Thank you.